Just heard Maria's incredible story about how God met us, how God transformed our lives now almost 4 decades. I just want to help us understand that God's heart has always been about reconciling or restoring or retrieving or redeeming people, regardless of where they are in life. I mean, from the very beginning, when the angel appeared to Joseph, he said that Jesus came to save. That's why they were to name him Jesus. His goal was always to restore, to save, to grab hold of things that have gotten lost. In fact, one of his famous parables was about the lost sheep or the lost coin or the lost son. It was always about recouping what got lost or what got misplaced, whether it was in the house or whether it was part of a team. He always wanted to bring back those things that have value, those things that are dear to him. We're dear to him. And you heard Maria's story about how her life and our lives were so out of control, yet he was able to meet us in such a specific way that he enabled us to grab hold of his love for us, which was just so foreign to us. Just never hearing about the love of God in the way he expressed it that time when we met him 38 years ago in a small little church. Not even wanting to meet him, but he just grabbed hold of us. But again, that's always been the heart of God. And what's amazing is that when you hear these parables of Jesus and he's talking about the lost sheep or the coin or the son, after these items are found, there's this celebration, there's this restoration that leads to celebration, and it's huge. In fact, in Luke 15, it actually says that the angels in heaven celebrate when someone returns to the Lord. So, and it's an amazing concept of God. Oftentimes we think God of as being someone who's judging and being harsh, and that's so not like God. In fact, he tells us to call him Father. How more endearing of that? In fact, from the very beginning, God told Moses, way back when he was leading his people, when he was restoring them, when he was rescuing them, that when they inherited the land that God had prepared for them, that they were to build these cities, these asylums called cities of refuge. Now, there were 12 tribes, and God wanted to make sure that there was a city in between every two, north and south, either side of the Jordan, so that people can easily get to them when they messed up, when they failed, when they did things that weren't right. These places were there just to help them get restored, to get redeemed. It was a safe place where nobody could hurt them. It was a place that was perched on a hill, easily accessible and visible for anyone that was coming for any kind of asylum or help. The gates were never locked. It was amazing. In fact, the Levites, the priests, were responsible for making sure all the roads, all the passageways, the bridges were always in tip-top shape so that the runner or the person that had to get there would have no hindrance. There'd be nothing to prevent them from getting to this city of refuge, which was going to give them this asylum where they could get restored, where they can have now this reconciliation with God and even the people that they hurt. That's always been the heart of God. In fact, what's amazing is there were these 2 large lettered words always printed right on the roads that led to the city called refuge, refuge. God wanted to make sure that nobody made a mistake, that there was a place where they can get redeemed. Like what happened with me and Maria. In fact, Jesus' last sermon, right before he goes into Jerusalem to be crucified, was the fact that he came to seek and save that which was lost. And sometimes, you know what, you don't even know you're lost. When Maria was telling her story about us going to church and she had this sense that she wanted God, actually, I didn't feel that. I felt I was okay. I was raised in a religion or a denomination, and everything that I was doing, in my mind, I wasn't hurting anybody. I wasn't robbing anyone. These were my own choices that I was making. And so I didn't feel this need to go to church. I felt like, hey, I'm okay. We got a business going, and you know, what's the big deal? And so when I went there, I was really oppositional to going there. I had no heart for that. But yet when that preacher got up at the very end and he mentioned about if you were to die tonight, where would you go? All I can tell you is then I felt that I needed God. The drugs and all the immorality never played a part. I just knew that there was a moment that I needed to be reconciled with the Father. And that can be for anyone. Whether you've raised in church or whether you're out running the streets like Maria and I were doing, there's a point, there's a time when God will make it very clear that he wants you, that he wants to restore his relationship with you, that he wants to bring you back into the home. He wants you to be part of the family. And that can happen anywhere, at any time, in any place. In fact, maybe now's the time. Maybe right where you are, you feel, hey, I'm watching this thing and I know it's on video, but you know what, I want this restoration. I want this redemption quality with God so that my life can be right. So I'm going to pray a simple prayer, and if that's okay with you, you just listen and you just agree with me in your heart. Father, I thank you for this time. I thank you for this moment. In fact, this is one of those divine, godly, ordained moments. And these people that are listening right now, whether it's one or whether it's multitudes, I'm asking, oh God, that you reveal your love to them and they would feel a sense of belonging, a sense of need, a sense of restoration, oh God, because you love us. In fact, you proved that on the cross. And so I just pray this prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. I really want to encourage you now to use what you've just heard and maybe invite someone else or share it with someone else. Bring somebody back maybe to the next session where my sons are going to talk and my wife, and you're going to hear how God has really restored us as a family and the legacy that he's allowed us to leave behind. I'd like to encourage you to even find a church and bring people to the church, because that's what we did. That very next week we went back to church, and that kind of just helped settle all the foundation that was put there. So I want to encourage you, this is just not one moment of emotion. This is a lifetime now and a journey. So I'm going to encourage you to bring people back to the next session where you can watch the next video, and also go into church where someone else might need that restoration, that reconciliation, that redeeming power that only God could provide. God bless you, and thank you for listening.